So welcome to Pour Me a Story. I'm Debbie DeFrancesco. I'm sitting here with my friend Chanie Fogelman, and she is with the Chabad Center in Natick, Massachusetts. We are neighbors, and I've known Chanie for about 7 years, but never actually had the opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with you, and I'm so excited that I can hardly stand it. So usually what I do, Chanie's drinking water. I usually drink a Negroni. I was telling Chanie yesterday telling her that yesterday a friend of mine came over a little later, and let's just say I drank my lot of Negronis for the 24 hours, so I'm going to stick with an iced coffee. And Chanie has water, but if you want to toast with me, that would be awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
all right.
Of course.
I'll say a blessing to begin.
Yes, of course. Please
Baruch
do.
atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehakol niyeh b'dvaro.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, thank you for being here. Like I said, I think I moved in, as I said, we're neighbors, and I moved in 2017. So we're coming up, oh my goodness, we're coming up in 8 years, actually.
Wow, I can't even believe it.
I know. I really do think about that. Because I love the house, I love the neighborhood, and you guys were so nice. You and the rabbi came over and introduced yourselves, and we said hello. And I remember one of the times he came over, we were doing kind of a pseudo-Jewish holiday here, and he said, "Have you heard the shofar yet?" And I said, "No." And he came in, and everyone was just amazed. And it was so, I could go on and on, but I actually have real pointed questions for you. But like I said, I'm just so happy that you're here.
I'm so excited also. Thank you for inviting me on.
Of course.
I love your energy, and it's such a nice opportunity to get to know you a little bit more.
A little bit more. Well, I was curious. Were you actually born into Orthodoxism?
Yes.
Is that how I say it? Orthodoxism?
I was born in an Orthodox community.
Thank you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know. And then how did you meet Rabbi Fogelman?
Let's see. We actually it was on a date that was set up. So you want to know
one that worked?
Yeah, absolutely. We have the choice. It's just a natural thing in our circles because I've gone to an all-girl school. My husband went, his whole circle's with all boys,
sure.
So the most natural way for a young couple to meet is by being set up. But a lot of times there's somebody, somebody knows somebody, there's
sure.
a family connection, and then there are matchmakers.
I was wondering if that was a real thing. I am Jewish. There's different levels, I would say, of Judaism. Right. I grew up Reform. For those who don't know, there's Reform, Conservative, and Orthodox, right? Am I missing? And I'm sure the whole slew in between of
so that is a truth.
Okay.
And at the same time, on our end, the way I grew up, it was without specifically labeling, because from our teaching, the way we were always taught, our philosophy is that, if we're speaking on Jewish terms, that a Jew is a Jew in terms of all of humanity, all our creations of God. In terms of Jewish people, we're all from the same heritage. So I can get more on that afterwards.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But that's how we like to view.
I love that, though.
Yeah.
What a great way to view. I wish more people did. We're all part of the same humanity.
Yes.
I feel like humanity's been a little lacking lately, but that's a whole other podcast. But so you met on a date.
Right.
Where'd you go?
Hotel. It was either a hotel lobby or that kind,
Nice.
Yeah, Manhattan.
I was going to say, I know my next question is where are you from? Because I can hear it, but I just wanted to see if I was right.
Do I still have my New York accent?
Every now and again, you're going to hear my Chicago accent slip out, so that's totally
all right. Yes. I was actually in Chicago one summer as a counselor in a Chabad camp. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's so exciting. I love camp in general, so that was just, that's wonderful. Okay, so you met, how long have you been together?
So we are married 39 years, is it?
I won't tell anyone that you don't know exactly.
Yeah.
No one will know.
Nobody will know. Yeah. It's just that I don't believe it myself. That's
you don't
that's
look old
what
enough.
it is.
You don't.
That's what it is. It's like, is it really so? But it is really so. Thank God. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
39 years. And
So
how many children?
We have 8, thank God.
Oh my goodness. Wow. You are my hero on so many levels for that. As a mother, as someone who's given birth, as like,
Thank God.
Yes,
It's wonderful. It's definitely been busy. But we're not the biggest family that there is around. So yeah.
What is the biggest that you can think of? Like friends.
There's 11, 12, or so, but yeah, or fewer. That's also, it's a range,
Of course. It's so funny. I interviewed somebody last week, and he's from a family of 9. And
wow.
it is just always, as somebody who grew up like extended family, I have a sister and then a stepsister and a stepbrother,
Right.
and also just 2 kids myself that, were through fertility treatments because I was a little broken. It's all right, but it was just a crazy experience. So it's like, I'm always amazed that the people can have so many kids also that, it's actually harder to get pregnant than people think. So it's like the stars have to align, so
I'm absolutely grateful. Thank God. Absolutely.
I love that. Oh my goodness. So how long after you met did you get married? I was like, tell me about not to say process to make it sound like, we're building something here, but just out of curiosity, like, so how does it work?
Right. Okay. So it wasn't that long after we did like it was maybe the 8th date or something like that. Wow. And it was like 3 months later that we got married. I know that. Well, let's see. I'm curious, what would make that a hero?
3 months, because I feel like at the time, let's see, I was turning 22 or 3 when I met Chris, my husband, and I mean, we were together probably 4 years before we got engaged. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, you are my hero in that regard.
So I understand that, like, we are kind of from a similar background.
Yes.
Different places, actually. My husband grew up in Worcester.
Oh.
Not far away. And, but in terms of lifestyle, so there are things we needed to figure out.
Sure.
If we felt we were compatible and et cetera, whatever, whatever you would want out of a marriage. So there was that, but there was a lot that we already had in common that we knew that we had in common.
Of course.
So that would take out years of the dating.
That's actually a good point. I mean, because my husband is not Jewish, and that was important to my mom's side of the family, full disclosure. My dad, my stepmom is not Jewish, so my dad was like, didn't really mind. But there was a lot of acclimating, I think you would say. So Chris became what we would call an honorary Jew, just because all the holidays he went to,
right.
all the matzah he ate,
yes.
As an Italian Albanian, during Passover, he would take 2 pieces of matzah and put the brisket in between and be like, what I would kill for a piece of bread. I'm like, dude, you're not alone there. But wow. There was some, and then I've gone to the Easters, and because he's Albanian Orthodox, they're on the same calendar and as the Greeks too. So I've tried the red eggs with the Easter. I've trying things on and seeing how you want to go forward. You're right. You're right. That would shave off a couple of years,
right? Wouldn't it? Yes.
You didn't need to. You're like, we know we're gonna. That's gonna work. Okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So it wouldn't work with everybody who's from the same background. So it's not a given.
Sure. But it certainly helps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
And then, so how many people were at your wedding? And tell me, like, as long as we're on it, what does an Orthodox Jewish wedding feel like? And because in my last life, I was a wedding planner. And just from, 2 sides, correct? And there's a separation in between. Correct.
Okay.
So, and educate me, because truly, this is where I could use a little info.
Let's see. We had a few hundred people at our wedding.
Oh, that's still a nice number.
Yeah.
A couple hundred is totally respectable. And I feel like you are still able to get to greet and speak to everyone without it being like 300, 400, 500 where it's difficult.
Right. So I don't remember the exact number. It could have been in the 300s, but I don't remember exactly. at this point, we have our video, our ancient video to...
Do you have all the cords to like plug it? No, I'm kidding.
Well, we actually had some updating.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
From the VHS.
Yes. So have that plus the digital. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. So your question was about...
just the wedding and the separation of the men and the women and the tradition behind that.
Right. Okay. So so yes, we have the women's dancing, we have the men's dancing. So we have the two sides, equally lively and fun and exciting. And yes, we do have what we call the mechitza, which is the divider panels, or it could be a floral arrangement. Ooh. It could be whatever you decide on, or whatever the hall has. If you're doing it at a hall that does the traditional weddings, which is where we did it.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So it was a school building which had a beautiful
That's really
hall.
Cool. I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that kind of fits with the way we grow up also, like, so that the men are celebrating with the men, the women are celebrating with the women, but there are different parts of the wedding where the chatan, the groom, comes and in where the bride is and comes to the traditional putting on the veil, and everybody, is escorted by a whole trail of the men. And
that's
awesome. I'm trying to describe.
No,
I mean, that's and it's beautiful. It's very exciting. There's the chuppah, the marriage canopy, and all of that, and all the dancing and all the fun and all. Yeah.
A lot. It's so funny because of all the weddings I plan. I think regardless of religion, people love the idea of the chuppah, which, like you said, the marriage canopy, which signifies just life going in and like through. Correct? Like people are going to come inside and outside of your house, and things are open, and you're open to people. Am I?
That's definitely part of it, and it's also open under the sky. There's something to that, although if for whatever reason it couldn't be, it could be indoors also. Sometimes there are certain wedding halls that are designed for this, and they might have a space indoors with a part of the ceiling that actually opens up for this. Wow. But also it signifies a tent, so like a tent of dwelling. So there is what you say, the openness, and at the same time, it's your space. You're creating your space. It's the beginning of a couple creating their home together.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
I love that. That's actually the part I hadn't heard. That's surprising because like you hear about, I don't know, I think of all the weddings I've done. I think everyone has their own, I think the Jews had that first, but I think that everyone kind of adds a little piece to it too, which is really special. I love that so much. I am going to cheat. So I was telling Chanie, I've got some pointed questions and just things that I had done some research that I wanted to make sure I'm doing correctly. So I'm going to look at my notebook. I would say, like, what is something that people don't know about you, Chanie? Like, so...
Okay. Okay.
Because you are open. You're so out in the community. You do a wonderful job celebrating the holidays and being... just so visible in the Jewish community. So, like, what is something where if you're like, I just really love a really great bath and I put my hair, you know what I mean? Like,
that kind of thing. Okay. Okay. Because I'm trying to think. The first thought that came to me is not that kind of thing, but like, I'm a descendant of King David.
Okay, I love that.
Okay. Another thing, what people might not know, is that I spent almost a year in Australia. Oh my goodness. After high school. It was a student teaching exchange, and it was an amazing experience.
I can imagine a year in Australia. God, I've never been there.
Yeah.
I have aspirations to go there. Wow, that's incredible. Good for you.
So that, I'm trying to think what else people might not know.
Cat's out of the bag now.
Certainly a lot of things, but
I love it.
we in our high school we had the Oliver show I was Oliver we did Oliver with a Jewish twist.
Ooh, I love that. I also love that you played a boy. Right?
Isn't that funny? Right?
Yes, I love that. That is actually, especially like I said, in today's world where, gender is becoming a very popular and very real topic for many families, that I love that you were Oliver. That makes me so happy on 1,000 different levels. That's wonderful. Okay, so I wrote, and this is why I'm cheating. So life as I even put it phonetically. Rebbetzin, did I say it right?
Sure. Yes. I don't know how to say it.
Okay, so I'm like, so a Rebbetzin is the wife of a rabbi, and so for me, I was curious. What does being a Rebbetzin mean to you? Personally and within your community, like what's it like to be married to a rabbi? I mean, I assume like he's a popular man, and for a lot of reasons, but also just because he's a kind, lovely soul. So I mean, outside of that, but he's like a public figure.
Right. Okay. So what is firstly the name Rebbetzin, the title Rebbetzin? I didn't really love it at the beginning. The title, the name of Rebbetzin, not what I'm doing.
Sure.
Totally different, yeah. But I don't know, there was something about the title of Rebbetzin that was very archaic sounding, kind of like the something of the dusty hills or something. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I don't see myself as that at all. Like, just we're
look at you.
We're
no.
we're living with the times. We're progressive, and in our way of thinking, and So the title kind of like just because I also felt that others have an association like that. So, but by now I'm totally used to the title. I've heard it enough times placed upon me, and that's okay. And not only that, I think it's become more in vogue, perhaps.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah. So that's about the title.
Okay.
About the position, I was right on board all the time. That's like, I knew it was my choice. Yeah. It was, it wasn't like we were hired by a congregation and my husband's the rabbi, and I'm finding my space in their whatever else I might be doing.
Sure.
But it was when we, came out, let's say, to Natick.
Sure.
We started in our house, and we were on board together with whatever we're doing. So we're kind of like working together the entire time, and
that's hard to do in a marriage. I mean, truly, it's working together. Whether, literally and figuratively, especially since working from home has become, since COVID. Right. I mean, Chris actually was working at home before it was a thing, and I would take the train into the city for my work. And it's funny, that just struck me because I feel like running a family, running a congregation, whatever you're running, you have to have a great deal of respect and compassion, I would say, because I'm not always super compassionate. Like with my husband, I love him, but we've been married 20 years. I've known him since 2000. That's when I met him. And like you said, you have to work together. You have to align together.
100%. And
sometimes that is very difficult. How do you handle that? Like,
we could have different takes and different ideas and different opinions on things, on how something should work, but
like parenting. Usually that's ours.
But I actually love that. I love that we can figure things out together. I think it's been great that way.
Good.
And that's when it was kind of just us also. I mean, along the way, with different things, we have kind of staff working alongside us, and
That is very cool. Oh my God. I definitely, wow. I like when I think about you two, and then I think about the Chabad Center. So you said you did it out of your house.
Originally, yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So when was that approximately?
Yeah. When we moved in 1986. the end of 1987, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. And then how long?
And it wasn't to this house. Oh. The one you know.
Oh, the one I know. Where were you located?
We were on Hartford Street at first.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we had a storefront that we rented out for the activities and for a little daycare preschool that we had for a while, and a couple of different steps along the way until we got the building that we have. Thank God.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's funny. I haven't been inside. I walk by it 1,000 times.
Oh yeah,
I might have to invite myself in.
Absolutely, you're always invited. I hope you knew that.
No, I know. I swear, I did. You invited me, and the timing had it worked initially. I did want to make matzah though, and actually, I'm obsessed with how you. Hani's an amazing baker. So your challah, your homentashen from a couple of years ago, that matzah was actually good, and I don't know if people go bragging about good matzah, to be honest with you, that's kosher for Passover. But that was good.
Well, that was good because I had the same one, but same kind. But I will say we didn't bake that one.
You did? Okay.
Well, we have our matzah bakery. It's a model matzah bakery where it's an experience for the kids, but we don't do the real one because there's so many rules around that, how it has to be perfect. So we give the kids an amazing experience, and like the whole place is set up like you walking into a bakery, into the old style brick oven type of thing, whatever it is, with all the special shovels and the perforators and the rolling pins and everything like that. You did?
I did. I remember doing that.
Where did you do it?
I mean, it was in a temple, Beth El, in the suburbs of Chicago.
Oh,
and so that was I have, when you said that, I just completely flashed back to like when I did it, and I loved it. I have like such fond memories of that, and I really enjoyed that. And
that's cute.
And it's nice that you get the kids involved, and it's hard. Like when I was going back, my parents got divorced, and I think for me, that's when I had a bat mitzvah, and then kind of my family fell apart a little bit. And that's why I didn't really continue or with my religion, because I was also a little bit angry, not at religion, not at Judaism, just in general. I was a teenager, angry anyway.
Sure, makes sense.
Parents divorced, left everything I knew in Chicago and came to Boston.
Oh, wow.
And so it was, for me, I was just grateful to be near my mom, and my stepfather and his family were wonderful and welcoming. They were part of a conservative temple in Newton. But it was hard for me that's why I'm like, I always feel so grateful when I can like look back on a very positive memory from my childhood, around Judaism,
right.
But but now it's I would say I consider myself like a cultural Jew. I really haven't prayed or been in temple in a very long time, and I don't know how I would feel about that. I know we're totally off topic.
Oh, you could totally come for a challah baking.
I would do that.
There are a lot of programs that we have actually.
Yeah.
So we keep in mind that there's a whole community out there. Within our community, we have layers of community. So there are those that are more regular, coming on a weekly basis for Shabbat, or which
on our list
can explain. We can get to that, but holidays or whatever. Then there are those who come for programming, for family programming. Could be centered around the holiday, but it's not
what
as
do you mean family programming.
Children activities and with lots of fun stuff.
Oh, I hear it.
Yeah. yeah.
I do. And I said, that always, I do feel a little guilty because sometimes I'm sitting outside having a cocktail and I'm like, oh, there's kids playing behind me.
That's like on a daily basis with the after school or whatever. But the different layers of community, and then some programs and activities that are really keeping in mind that we know that there's a whole community of Jewish people out there who might not necessarily be understanding or resonating at this moment with the prayer part of things, but would love to, get a taste of something fun, of something of something meaningful, let's just say.
I like that. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a wonderful way to put it too. Because who doesn't want something meaningful?
Right.
whether it's based around any religion or family life.
Right.
Or I like how you said the family programming too.
Right.
And that also kind of goes back to, you working closely with Rabbi about alignment.
Right.
Because there's a lot of conversation. I remember, when my kids were little about daycare, how we were going to raise them with what religion. And then we kind of waited too long and kind of missed the window. They've been exposed to a lot of everything.
Well, that's...
Which is fair,
understandable in this society. Yes. Exposed to everything. Yes.
And I want to bring up Shabbat because I've had Shabbat growing up a lot. And then maybe explain to people who don't know, who are non-religious people or whomever, what Shabbat is, what it means,
right,
and how important it is.
Okay. So to kind of go back to basics, what is Shabbat? What's the origin of Shabbat? Shabbat goes back to the time of creation.
Right.
And so for anyone who believes in God and in creation, whether Jewish or not, we're not talking about who should observe the Sabbath, but we're talking, Shabbat can also be called Shabbos.
Yes, good Shabbos.
Yes. And also in the English language, Sabbath is the Sabbath, right? So, so going back to creation, so again, for those who believe in God and believe in creation, the way it is that that God created the world in 6 days. Mm-hmm. Each day, there were different elements of the world that came to be. And then on the seventh day, God rested. We learn this in the Torah and tradition. And then we are the Jewish people are given God asks us to partner in this message of creation and sharing the message to the world, to the universe. And one important way is through observance of the Sabbath. So basically on the seventh day, God rested, and we rest on the seventh day. That doesn't mean that you're
not lounging in the bathtub.
Right, exactly. But in many ways we are resting from what? Resting from the creative part of what we're doing during the week. That's creating the active creating of whatever it may be during the week. We pause from that, and we're focused on this spirituality, but that doesn't mean during the week we also have our spirituality, because we don't see it as two different worlds, really. It's kind of like one thing. They're both, it's one. It's food. Mm-hmm. Can be something spiritual.
Yes, it can. I know all about that.
Yes. So there's the physical, there's the spiritual, but anyway, the Sabbath is it's an island in time when we sanctify time and we remind ourselves and whoever is in our circles that gets to, that there is a creator of the world, and that we honor the creator and we partner with the creator. And
and so that takes place. So usually it's Friday evening at sundown till Saturday morning.
Till sometime on Saturday. Okay. Yeah, later in the day, actually. It's 25 hours, roughly.
Oh, boy. Okay, I did not realize. I don't think I realized that. Okay.
How does it work?
Yes.
So going back to creation again, the beginning, it says there was evening and there was morning, day one. Gotcha. So evening comes before the morning. So the evening of the seventh day arrives at sunset on Friday. And then we observe the Sabbath through the following, not sunset, but nightfall.
Okay.
So kind of like...
and observe it by resting yourselves.
How do we observe, right?
Yes. And it's funny. I have a funny story. I put it in the notes to you. So I have a good friend who does a lot of walking in the neighborhood, and you probably see her every day because you invited her. I told her I was interviewing you.
Oh, sure.
And her name is Hannah.
Okay.
And, hi, Hannah. And I told her I was interviewing you, and she said, oh my goodness. She said, I was walking, I think one Saturday, I'm not sure exact.
Right.
And she said, Honey asked me to come in the house. She said, you look like you're very nice. And this is Hannah. She said, I am.
That's so cute.
She said, how can I help you? And you said, the dishwasher's been beeping. Can you close it? And can you preheat the oven or something along those lines? So those are things you can't do when you rest.
Okay.
So tell me about that.
Well, firstly, my opportunity to thank Hannah again. Now that I know
I'll
that
get you a formal
her,
introduction.
that
Yeah,
we could
she's
do that.
wonderful.
Yes, absolutely. So I don't remember exactly what
Sure, but
it
in
was
general,
because
yeah.
this is not the first time
There's a lot of Hannahs.
outsourced.
I love that. You can always count on me too. I just need you to say, I walk the dog. You see me. Pull any of my family if you need to outsource. We're happy to help.
Well, I'll tell you this. We would specifically outsource somebody who's not Jewish. So
my husband.
That
Chris
would work. That would work. Yeah. So even if somebody, whatever level of observance that is one's choice, but so we have our neighbor across the street. That's our first go-to. And he's always so wonderful. If we're allowed to say on.
Yes,
screen.
we won't give a last name, but yes, okay, he's wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's a wonderful man.
Yeah. And then we go from there to other neighbors if,
Perfect.
Yeah. So the neighbors know our thing already. But then if we couldn't, I don't know what it was, possibly it was either too early in the morning or too late at night and we wouldn't go knocking on somebody's door or something like that. We kind of wait outside and see who might be passing by. Yeah. And it's interesting because there is a term for this and you may have heard of it.
I don't know. I love outsourcing.
It's called the Shabbos goy.
Shabbos goy. I mean, I know the word goy, but he's not a Jew.
Right. And it's with, it's said with a fondness.
No, of course.
And it's like, and I will tell you that I actually heard that one of the vice presidents was Shabbos goy, and I couldn't remember. I looked it up. I said which vice president was, and it was Al Gore. But it turns out that the list came up with a few popular, famous people who were a Shabbos goy, including.
So cool.
So that was for Lieberman. That was in that case, but Joe Lieberman. I'm pretty sure Obama came up.
Oh my God.
Elvis.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Those are some.
You can look it up yourself.
I love that. That's amazing.
So, yeah.
And so a Shabbos goy will be because you're supposed to be resting and taking it easy.
Right. We should explain.
You can't do work, right?
So it's electronics.
Shoes are coming off. Here it goes.
Okay. Okay. Getting comfortable. Good. So we do unplug from all electronics.
Which is hard, I think, no matter who you are, but yes.
It's a gift.
Yes, it is.
Truly a gift.
I know.
But I agree with you. If I had to tell myself to do it, I don't know how I would do it.
It's hard.
So I'm grateful for the opportunities. It's not a choice in my life. Of course, I have any choice I want in the bigger picture, but it's the choice I choose because I love what it presents to me.
Sure.
I love the gift. I've embraced the choice over and over again. In other words, yes, I grew up with this lifestyle, and at that point, it was just what we did, right? And over the years, I've learned more, and I've grown to appreciate more.
Sure. Especially now, when it's really hard to unplug, because it's
absolutely now it means so much more.
Oh
yeah.
Unplugging is we try and teach our kids that now from any standpoint, and even as adults, it is just hard to take a beat.
Right. And so I am so grateful. It's 25 hours that it's not even a question. It's like off the radar. So what happens is when your food, you're preparing everything, whatever, you do everything before Shabbat sets in. And it's most typical that this situation would have come up for me where we outsourced on a holiday where it's we're right.
You're trying not to be busy.
We're actually there are variations of the Shabbat law on the holiday where we, but in any case, to keep it simple, whenever it was, I can't remember exactly the situation with Hannah.
I could be lying
but whichever it was, I think if it was the dishwasher, whatever, we needed something, because I think we would have. There are certain situations where we wouldn't outsource, and we just kind of have to live with it, live with it. But there are certain situations where we're allowed to. So whatever, that was obviously in the parameter of what we're allowed to ask somebody for their help. And with the oven, whatever it was, that in a case that we're allowed to, because it wouldn't be just for anything. I think it may have been, maybe there was, in some cases, one thing or another, but if it was a stovetop where a burner was something unsafe something like that, I don't mean just any, I mean something, I don't know.
Like turning off the oven so you don't burn down your house because you have to walk to temple or something.
Honestly, it's not about the house. It's about people, but not, without getting too much into, because I don't remember the exact circumstance, but we do
cool.
sometimes.
I mean,
call them.
I got the Shabbos joy or goy.
It's a joy too.
It's a joy. It is. Trust me.
Beating our neighbor, and
oh my God, I love that. I love that. So I'm going to move us forward, because I feel like you and I could talk for hours, and we will. Okay, we talked about. So I mentioned to you in my email, I'm very big on, I'm pro-woman, pro-everything surrounding supporting women, no matter who you are, truly. And so I said, there's a lot of my questions, there are a lot of female-driven questions, and truly because I want to learn more, and I don't know, and it's really about the roles and perspectives in family. And I mean, one of my questions would be, what do you think are some common misconceptions about Orthodox Jewish women? And how do you define your role as an Orthodox Jewish woman?
Right. Common misconception, I think, is that we're kind of chained or second class, which is not at all the case. We're, women are respected throughout time in Judaism. When women have always been respected from the time of our matriarchs and patriarchs, from thousands of years ago. We have so much that we learn from them, and it's brought down in the scholarly and holy books, whatever it is that gives tremendous praise and recognition to the great Jewish women.
Good. Yeah. Good. I mean, deservedly so. I mean, I like I said, I see your posts on Facebook. I see everything you do for the community. And I know that you are a driver behind that. And I know that you, based on the pictures too, that you have other strong Jewish women helping you. I mean, it doesn't happen in a vacuum.
Yeah. Thank God for that.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And then, I mean, just along that vein. So did you go to college? And what's the viewpoint as far as getting a career path or getting educated or
absolutely.
Tell me, I'm so curious.
Yeah. So I didn't go to a secular college.
Sure.
After high school, there was what's called seminary. So it is more centered towards the teaching skills. And other things, other broader topics as well. But there's psychology and all the things that you would need for teaching skills. But that's what I did. But that's not necessarily what is
the norm or
that is required. That is typical for many. But then some And I mentioned I went to Australia as
Yes.
one of the years of a student teaching experience with that. I went with my pack of, it would have been online now, but much easier. But I had to go with my pack of papers and things to research and do it
around. Like,
exactly. And yeah. And then, right, and you have to make sure you're not losing anything, right? Because it's like, yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah. But yeah, that's what it, so that was my experience.
Sure.
And then we got married not long after. So
Sure.
that was, but there are my daughters, my daughter right now, she's getting ready to get her master's in social work. She should, by the fall, she'll have her master's. Yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah, exactly.
Good for her, but that's wonderful.
And I have another daughter. They did, there's a lot of online opportunity now that makes things easier to do it from wherever you are. And, our girls have been they did the seminary also.
Sure.
And then they went on to whatever field of study they want, doing different things, so.
No, I truly didn't know. And that is one of one of my burning questions, at least just having the opportunity to be educated. And I never viewed Orthodox Jewish women as second class. It didn't cross my mind. I just didn't know, not that I'd want to label you, but like, I don't think I knew, what I mean? And I think everything that's going on in the world, I think it's nice to know that you can still be an independent, educated Orthodox Jewish woman with and not feel like a second class citizen.
Oh, right. And that was never even a question.
That's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, now things are more available, so it makes some of that easier.
Yeah.
If people don't want to be in a co-ed setting, that sometimes is a factor. I mean,
what's the basis of all the co-ed or lack of co-ed? So I don't think I ever knew where that came from. Okay.
So there's a lot of value placed on the holiness of the sanctity of the genders, like the marriage of a couple, a lot of sanctity, holiness there, and it's like you want to safeguard something, you want to keep pure, something that is so valuable, so precious, and it's so easy for. Let's put it this way: in Judaism, the let's go all the way with what you might be heading right.
Tell me
the
everything.
act of physical intimacy is considered actually holy within the context, within proper context of a marriage. Sure. In the that. So it's considered one of the holiest of I think it's possible, because I've heard from other religions that it's where in other views it may be like the what do you call it, the necessary you have to give into, this is what you got to do because that's the human nature type of thing.
Exactly.
That's not the case at all in Judaism, which people don't necessarily know that.
I don't think I knew that.
Right, that it's actually so incredibly holy. That from connecting to the highest sources, and yet something that is so holy has, from the highest source, we're taught, can fall to the lowest.
Oh wow, okay.
So we want to safeguard and keep the path towards marriage as pure and without all the
Without all this the stuff,
right?
I know what you mean.
Without the chaos of the world, right? Yes. I mean, so obviously we live in the world. We use the technology. Not only use it, we believe that that's actually
progression.
Not only progression, but that it's God's gift to the world for the purpose of everything we do. We see as an opportunity to elevate sparks and to bring out godliness.
Oh, I love that.
And so we believe that. Okay, so what I was saying, going back to about, so when we're not in a co-ed environment, then we're able to focus on on our studies. We're able to, obviously everybody will focus on their studies. You're going to have tests and you're going to have to make
life.
Yeah, exactly. But without additional distractions, let's call it, right?
Yes.
There are enough distractions.
I was one of those girls who was very easily distracted by the opposite sex.
So yes. It's understandably, it's like, if it's around, then
we're going to look.
Absolutely. So, yeah.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so keeping it separate. Okay, I understand. And then is this is something some Orthodox Jewish women wear wigs.
Yes.
And help me understand what's the meaning behind
right,
that?
Myself included.
I can tell, but I not really. Your wig is gorgeous.
Thank you.
And I love the highlights.
You. And there are some that are way better.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, I think I would definitely. Yeah. And so did you shave your head?
No.
So you
said right. Yeah, that's.
I truly have no idea. I was always wondering.
No, that's okay that you asked. No. Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
So you wear a wig, and then is that because from the readings, I did some research before we spoke, because it was a question. Like I said, I didn't actually think I was gonna ask it because I didn't want to be disrespectful, and I truly is more of from a curiosity standpoint, and it's because the real you is really for your husband to be able to see. He's really the only. Is that
is true.
Okay,
that is true, and hair is considered sensuous.
Yes.
And
this is mine.
I
don't have a lot of it, and it's pink. So go on.
So, but in any case,
sure.
It doesn't. But it's not for the purpose of making anyone look unattractive.
Sure.
That's completely. If anybody thought that, that's a fallacy. That is
no good.
Yeah,
tell it.
Yes. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. But it's to reserve. There's such great holiness. Actually, there's a whole other realm of Kabbalistic study that where even the hair has certain elevated sparks.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny. My daughter makes fun of me. I have we'll say a lot of very fine hair, but my ponytail is 1/8 of her whole head of hair. I don't have a lot of it. I actually, in my last life, my first podcast, I had a podcast called Bitchless Bride, don't be a bitch while you're planning your wedding. And I was incognito because I was still working with my clients every day. Mm-hmm. So actually I wore a wig. I would do these video blogs, and it was
Where'd you
hot
find
pink.
them?
Oh my God. I think it was just Party City or something. It was it was real shitty. It was but I mean, when I tell you, it was I love pink. I love my pink hair, but this was you could tell it was, I'm sure if I got near an open flame, it would just light up. It was really bad, but it was cute. It was a little bob, and I wore sunglasses. And actually I went on 2020 and chatted with Elizabeth Vargas about planning weddings and being nice and how important it is, going back to your humanity standpoint,
right?
That everyone's human, and getting married is such. It shouldn't be the best day of your life. It should be one of the best days of your life. But then what are you saying about life after if that's the only...
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Right?
It's definitely memorable. It
should be memorable.
So memorable.
For the right reasons.
The beginning of your best days.
The beginning of the best day. Exactly. I love that. And so I basically went on and said that. But yeah, she agreed to sit down with me, even though I was completely unrecognizable, which is funny. So that's my experience wearing a wig. But I had heard that women in Judaism would shave their heads so they weren't attractive to others. So thank you for clearing that up. So they weren't considered attractive to other men, or there wasn't any temptation. So
interesting, right? So also within Judaism, there are different groups, we're going to say. As you had mentioned some in the beginning in terms of, but within Orthodoxy, and again, I use the term carefully when I say Orthodoxy because of what I said at the beginning, that we're not into labeling.
Yes.
But just for clarification, because at the core of it, we really, really believe we have the same core. We're the same.
I love that. I know, but it's you're human. There's the human side.
But just
as
for
Jews.
the clarity, within even Orthodoxy, there's Hasidic.
Yes.
Within Hasidic, there's different groups. So I am grateful to be in Chabad, having been brought up in Chabad, and rediscovering Chabad on my own adult, mature level through more advanced learning. When I teach also, I do the best learning because that's when I have to be able to take in and give it out. That's the best learning. So in any case, so what I was going to say, speaking to your question about the hair, is it's possible that there is a certain group or, maybe within that group that's, their custom. There are different customs within the groups. There are certain values or the what we call mitzvot, the God's commandment, and that we find in the Bible, the Torah, that are universal for everybody who's observant.
Okay.
Then there are various customs along the way that, you might find in different circles.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I'm so grateful that I see myself at the Chabad.
Yes.
I have to mention that the guiding light or the Moses of this generation that I grew up with, or the inspiration, I should say, was the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I don't know if you've heard of Rabbi Schneerson, who was in New York, but known throughout the world. Yes, and even Jews, Gentiles now go to his resting place in New York, in Queens, New York. For blessings. But in any case, the Rebbe taught so much and also valued Jewish women so much, and also the path of, let's say you asked about when we came out to where it's here, to when we came out to start up. At this point, at that point, it was like we said, almost 40 years ago, right? 38 years ago or whatever it was. And the landscape of the Jewish life at that point over here was different.
Oh, I'm sure.
And even so, the style of what we did was different then. But the reality but always with the understanding of love of a fellow. And that's how I was raised. Like that's the circle, the understanding, the teachings that I was raised with. Love of a fellow Jew, love of a fellow human being. So the respect for women, because you ask about that also. So I'm kind of tying things in different ways, and you'll figure out.
I know, I love it. Part of a podcast is ping pong.
Yeah,
so we love it.
So empowering women, the Jewish women as leaders, and that's I'm part of a whole thousands of Jewish women who are Rebbetzins.
I love that.
Around the world. And we have a convention or a conference every year where physically people are, other than COVID, which was online and then whatever, we gather together if people, as much as people can come from wherever they are, because it's not always possible for every,
Fair.
but we are thousands together in the space. If you could just imagine,
I can.
from all around the world. And what I'm saying is that the Rebbe is the energy behind all of that in terms of helping the world in Jewish knowledge and education and activities and at whatever level anybody is ready and open to embracing it is it's not like pushy or anything like that. It's just like open and here, come and taste if you'd like, come and enjoy and that's so this way of life of illuminating and teaching, and he had so many mottos, but one being that if you know Aleph being the first Hebrew letter, then teach Aleph. In other words, you don't have to, whatever you know of Judaism, teach. Be open to teaching it. You don't have to wait until you've mastered everything.
Right. No, that makes sense. Well, I think that's applicable for, anything. Like
anything, true. But
you learn as much as you possibly can in life. And I should feel, I don't know everything about podcasting.
Right.
But if I waited till I did, I never would have done it. So it's like, I like that correlation. And also what you were saying, where it's the group of women that get together to enjoy learning with each other, and empowering.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not only learning, there's learning by different means. Like at this point, it's also sharing experiences, a lot of that. And now, for the last number of years, we don't have to wait for a conference. We have a Facebook group, WhatsApp groups, and groups within the group.
Yes, that's amazing.
That are focused on whatever, because each place you might be serving a different type of community. Some are working with college campuses. Some are out in the community. College campuses is big, right?
Yeah, it's really big.
So some within the community are focused more on the youth, and some are doing everything, kind of a little bit of everything, and. So within the groups, you have an opportunity to catch up and share. And so that's now, and that's wonderful. That's the last, many years. That's not how it was when we started.
It's nice to see it progress.
And it's grown so much that it's like really, like I would almost say like I'm using the word like an army of, but an army of illumination, an army of light in all corners of the world.
Oh, that is so cool. Oh, I love that.
So I'm grateful to be part of that. And
you're so good at it.
Can.
Like I look at, and like I literally see you walking like 2 or 3 times a day, if I'm being honest. Not that I'm like this weird stalker, but I write a lot at my dining room table. I'll write in here just to change it up. I'm like, oh, there's Rabbi. Oh, there's Honey.
Right. Well,
and I see a lot of people like running by. There's always one man in particular who's always running, and he's so funny. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what time is it? Is he late?
That's funny.
But you are enlightening, Honey. Like, thank you. Like, we'll wrap it up soon, but is there anything else that you want to share? What's your favorite thing about Shabbat, or favorite thing you get to do in the community? Tell me, and then we'll
see about
wrap it up.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Of course.
About Shabbat, how do you transition from a very busy week? We'll talk about what we do during the week too also, right? But how do you transition from a very, very busy week to
like a slam on the brakes?
Right.
How do you do that?
How do you do that, right? Well, we have the mitzvah of lighting candles for Shabbat, which to usher in the Shabbat, again, with light and illumination. But up until the moment of candle lighting, which I'm really trying to make it like on a campaign for myself, a personal campaign, to make it earlier than the actual time, which
so you can finish up loose ends before you can't.
So our calendar lists a candle lighting time, and I'm trying to pull back and make it 20 minutes before that, but that is quite a struggle to
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, but I want to do it. I mean, but so how do you get your cooking? You still have to remember we're whatever is on is on, whatever is off when Shabbat comes, right? The cooking has got to be done.
Yes. The lights have to be off, I'm guessing, right? Or on. So some rooms on.
That's right.
Yes, okay.
Yes. So, yes, our bathroom light is on. So if you come visit, you want to make sure that you're not walking out and turning it off.
That's got to be so hard, just out of like pure habit, right?
Right.
Have you made a mistake and done that before?
Yes, it happens.
And God forgives you.
Yes. We mistakes are mistakes,
sure.
and there are different.
Exactly.
So
slowing down is hard.
So it's not, there isn't that slowing down. Like when you're exercising, you're supposed to, you're supposed to have those 5 minutes of startup, warm up. It's supposed to have 5 minutes of slow down or whatever like that type of thing. No, there's really almost
it's like
none of that, right? It's okay. I got done what I got to, look around, everything. Okay. Now I got to light. Okay. But the moment that I'm lighting the candles, at that moment, it's like a peace.
Yes.
It's tranquility. And it's a special opportunity also to, after saying the blessing, to keep family members in mind, which I do. We I think of each one of our children and our grandchildren.
How many grandchildren?
We have 10 or 11, is it now? Thank God.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I should have the numbers rolling off the tip of my tongue, but I can name them. I could name them, but that's okay. Not for now, but yeah.
Wow. That is truly.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that is a special time. After that, I still have to continue a few little things because if we're hosting, we're, have to finish getting some of the salads ready, things put out on the table or whatever it is. But it's already a whole different thing.
Oh, I can imagine.
We've entered Shabbat, and it's a beautiful island of time and island.
You said that
sanctity,
island. That's fair.
Peace, and yeah.
I might have to try it. I might have to actually see if I can do it. I mean, it's so hard too. I mean, especially, everyone's busy. Everyone's busy, right?
Yeah.
Like after you leave, I'm going to take notes and do what I do and help in the editing process. But on the other side of that, then I have to pick up my son and take him to baseball, and there's that whole other. So and now there's a Saturday game because it got rained out on Monday. So it's just like an interesting. It's like. Wow. I mean, but I really love the idea of it. And I've always loved the idea of Shabbat and lighting the candles and eating the bread and drinking the wine.
I didn't talk about the traditional foods. We dress nicer. Yes. Or maybe I did say that, or we eat special foods.
You always dress nice, though.
Oh, so you said about trying. It's not all or nothing also. Because, again, when we believe in God, God appreciates every effort. So if somebody wants to try something and they want to just start with lighting candles and taking that pause and that kind of thing.
So good. It really does.
Yeah. So whatever. But yeah.
The pause. True. And I like how you say with the lights. I mean, I don't, obviously it's an illumination, but I never really think I put it together with the sparkle and the lights. And as somebody who, we redid our backyard and lighting is very important. It's very important for an event in general.
Sure.
It dictates how you feel. And it's kind of funny to take it really back down to basics by lighting the candles, illuminates the room.
Yes.
Your mood.
Right.
So it's
we do have the lighting in the house as well.
Yes, of course. But
there's something unique about it.
There's something unique. Even outside in our backyard, we literally had the grass in a pile of rocks for a good 5 years because we were we can't afford to do what we want to do, and it's not worth doing if we can't get what we want. Finally, pulled the trigger, did it. And like when we were talking to the people that helped us design it, my main thing, and also Chris's, but was the lighting is really important because it's having control over it, how people feel with really good lighting or how they feel in really bad lighting.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
You just want to be able to make people feel welcome. And it's fun. I never brought it back to lighting the candles, and now I did. So thank you for that.
Yeah,
That's very cool. So what's a day in the life look like for you? Okay. So what, like, wake up to when you get home.
Okay, so what I'll quickly do is go the year down to the day, because every day is going to be so different. But
I love that.
The over a year, we're busy with holidays.
Yes.
So throughout the year, there are so many of them. Every week we have Shabbat. We have programs, as we mentioned, family programs and other community. When I say family, I mean the young families and community-centered programs, which is not specifically to the young, but for everybody around. So it could be a community Shabbat dinner or whatever it is. So all those things require planning, preparation, thinking, working with people, coordinating, ordering, whatever it is. So there's there is the after school that we're involved in. I'm also involved with, we also have a mikvah.
Ooh.
You know about that?
I know, okay, I'm going to ask you to describe it before I do it, but tell me about mikvah and tell everyone what that word means.
Right. Okay. So, well, the word means a collection.
Okay.
A gathering.
Okay.
A gathering. A gathering of what? So
Exactly. A gathering of something.
It's a gathering of water.
Okay.
So there is a beautiful tradition that goes back for thousands of years, that brides and Jewish women in marriage have come to a mikvah, but it has really nothing to do with physical cleanliness, which is
misconception. Yeah, because that's what I thought.
Right, there is immersion and there is water, but it's
is that second building?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not at all like we'll say that 1,000 baths will not accomplish what the mikvah does. It's a spiritual renewal, almost like a spiritual reset, if you want, and like a spiritual retreat, or it's a mitzvah. What we call a mitzvah is a divine commandment. But like I said, that so when it's so integral that women have kept this mitzvah throughout the generations for thousands of years, wherever the location may have been, whatever the circumstances may have been. So that's so powerful. And to make it accessible, we had a whole community project of building the mikvah
and what
many years ago. And
look like? Is it like a big
bath?
I would.
It's like a spa made. It's beautiful.
You're like, girl, it's a spa.
But that's not. It's the point, and it's not the point.
Yes, exactly.
What I mean by it's the point is, again, with the encouragement of the Rebbe Rebbe and the whole idea of bringing the value of mitzvahs to be attractive and to so it's really set up beautifully, and what else I was going to say about it?
Do you plan? Are you the person behind the planning?
So there's a lot of the planning or coordinating. Yes, there's coordinating, and then even just dealing with the nitty gritty of whatever you have to. There's
keep the water at a certain temperature.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's really kind of like a sacred space.
I love that.
And when we were building it, our motto, and it still is on the website, we would say, from ancient tradition flows meaning for modern life. So
who came up with that one? That's a good line.
Yeah.
That's truly wonderful.
I thank you. I was working with some women, a beautiful, group of women. I'm not sure if it was me or a combination of,
That's a great,
I mean, it definitely reflects,
of course,
everything we had been talking about. We, when we were, the what do you call it? The whole point of that. And it's also the same theme is with everything we do, not just there.
Sure.
So in any case, we're getting to the day, but the day really is different every day because there are different things that are on the plate each day. But when I wake up, starting a day is the same way every day. I start my day with the prayer of thanks to God for gratitude and for refreshing my soul and allowing me another day to serve God in the best way that I can.
That's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. So, and I hope that I take that with me throughout the day with whatever I'm doing.
Yeah. No, that's wonderful. And it's funny because like I try and like find inner peace like in the morning. The mornings are a little not tough, just busy. Getting 2 kids out the door.
Yes.
I mean, you had 8, so so it's right. It's like
that's a challenge. That was always a challenge.
You live like a lifetime before 8:15 a.m. Yeah. Like, what is happening? So I think with that moment, it's not right away that I do it, but when it's quiet,
right,
and I have a minute, and I'm like, okay.
Right,
for letting me get through that unscathed. Usually, no, but that's very important. I like it's a wonderful way to start.
Yeah,
it's like one of those little things that people can do in their lives that have meaning. That's like a small thing, right? Like just like take a minute to remember how lucky we are and how fortunate we are.
Yes,
and
absolutely. I mean, so blessed. Yeah, thank
exactly.
God. I mean, I feel grateful for my husband,
of course,
who's like partner in life and so wonderful, and for our children, thank God. And yes, so back to the day, we also have an after school, so we're busy with that. Sometimes on days on a weekend, if I don't have one thing or another, I might have some students coming individually, so some private lessons, and so that's part of our day. That's we have a wonderful staff, so thank God there's that. We have this coordinating, really wonderful, the best. And so there's coordinating, there's whatever meetings you have to have, and then there's the mikvah also, as I mentioned. And between that and the events that need planning for that, and then marketing, which you're
amazing at though too. I gotta say, the things that you've done, like the gifts, thank you, I mean, that you've bestowed upon us as far as for the different holidays, the marketing in general is really well done.
Oh, thank you.
Like I have a husband who's a little pain in the assy sometimes, and he's like, "This is really well done."
Oh, that's nice.
No, truly.
Yeah.
I mean, he wouldn't say anything if he did, but he. Yeah. Actually, it's a comment.
I hear you. Yeah.
But, okay. Yeah, so no, I mean, but you're right. It's a lot. I mean, I and even just some of the events you do from an event planning standpoint.
Yes.
I think people underestimate how much goes into each event, small or large.
Right.
I mean, sometimes the 10-person one can be more difficult than 100%. The 200-person one.
Absolutely.
Depending on what's at stake and what you're doing. Right. But also, you're teaching the mikvahs. I mean, wow. It's like, so when do you go to sleep? Like, seriously, what's your bedtime?
That's also different by the day. Every day is another story. Yeah.
I love it. Oh, that's wonderful. It's nice to get a glimpse into Hani. Seriously.
It's so nice to get to this time too.
Oh my God, I know we have to do this. Oh my God, you're freezing. Absolutely. I'm like, I'm a woman going through menopause, so this is, I know you're cold.
Well, that felt nice and warm.
I know. I'm like, here, we're just going to hold you.
Yeah. And, I'll continue my drinking.
Yes. Yeah. Do you drink alcohol?
Oh, there.
Do you drink alcohol? I wanted to
that's on Shabbat.
Oh, okay.
No, okay. But I would if I had interest in...
No. That's fair.
In other words, there's no religious thing holding me back from that. But
I have interest. Well, and again, pour me a story. It's like my love for Negroni. Okay. Negroni's equal parts sweet vermouth, gin, and Campari. Right. So it's very much it's big in Italy. It's gotten huge here. My sister introduced me. Yes, Jill, thank you. She introduced me to these like 10 years ago. And I find that like that's really the only drink I do want. So if I can't have that, I won't drink anything.
Does it have a lot of calories?
Yes. It's like if I'm having dessert,
I wouldn't know from looking at you. So.
Thank you. Well, that's Ozempic and a lot of working out, and which I'm totally open to talk about, which is a whole other. But if I have dessert, I won't have the drink because it's truly it doesn't taste like a sweet drink, but there's a shitload of sugar in it, like just between the like Campari and vermouth. I
imagine, yeah.
And sometimes I have two.
Okay, all right. If it's good and you enjoy it, why not?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, it's in the food industry
for a good l'chaim.
Yes, it's a hell of a l'chaim. I can tell you that. That one.
I'll say l'chaim with my water.
Yes, l'chaim. L'chaim. Oh, do a toast like this.
Sure.
Okay, perfect. Yay.
L'chaim.
Oh my God, honey, thank you so much. This is so fun. I don't want you to go back to work.
But yes, I gave myself time. I did.
All right, you can find me at pourmeastorypodcast.com, pourmeastory.podcast on Instagram, Pour Me a Story Podcast on Facebook. Please don't forget to subscribe, follow, share, review, all of that fun stuff. Yes, I needed the notebook for that. It's always where I mess up, and when I had my other podcasts in my life, I would do that on the air behind the scenes so you wouldn't actually see me reading it. So don't worry, I'll get there. But thank you for tuning in, everyone. Thank you, honey, for being here. This was just so fun and educational and truly just wow. So thank you. So,